Hi, everybody, and welcome back. This is a recap of my February newsletter. It's a little late because I was hoping to report on all of this new inventory that has come on the market, which has not quite happened yet, but we'll get to that in a second. You know, they say, follow the money. Not that it applies to this particular scenario, but if you do, you realize that confidence here in Manhattan is extremely high. In spite of all of the negative forces in the financial sector with rising interest rates and inflation and the geopolitical threats that we're seeing and the health crisis, market activity here still remains extremely strong. Interestingly, though, contract activity leading into the end of the year and through January did slow just a bit. But that's indicative of a more typical cycle, the seasonality that we would see pre-COVID. And it actually means that we're getting back to actually living a normal life. But that lull should not be confused with a slow market. Because get this, November saw 55% more deals signed than the historical average of prior Novembers. December saw 44% more deals, and January saw 28% more deals of the historical average of the prior months. Now, that gap does seem to be narrowing, but I believe that's because the overall inventory in general is constrained. Now, I tried to get away from last month's theme of the two I's, inventory and interest rates, but the story remains the same. You know, as we all know, there is tremendous pressure on the Fed because of inflation to raise rates and to taper their bond purchases. And that's actually happening. They're committed to doing it. And as a result, over the past 4 months, we've seen a rise in interest rates of about 0.5 point. So that's quite significant. But the interest rates are expected to continue to rise into the end of the year. Most economists are feeling that the 30-year fixed by the end of the year will probably settle somewhere around 3.65 to 3.8%. But the prospect of that has a lot of buyers very, very anxious that they're not going to be able to afford what they want, especially considering the significant competition that they're likely to face for so few properties. Now, all of that was just a preamble to what the real story is, which is, where's all the inventory? Yes, we've seen a trickle of properties starting to come onto the market, but we have yet to see a big flow of property, and we're all just waiting, which is why I was delayed in bringing this out. I was just hoping to report on that. So we still have a big listing season ahead of us. So we should start to see a lot more property. But again, buyers are frustrated because with the demand still strong and so few properties, prices are going to rise and interest rates are already rising. So they're anxious to jump in sooner rather than later. But the question is going to remain, how much inventory is actually going to materialize? That is going to determine how the rest of the year plays out. Because if there's not a lot, or there's very little to buy and sell, that's going to push prices higher at a faster pace than we expect. So I would say get out there, identify your opportunity now before later, and if you need help, let me know. I'm here for you. But if you want to see the rest of my newsletter, you can go to robertocabrera.com. You also can see details of my podcast, which I do every Thursday with my dear friend John Engel in Connecticut. It's called Burrows and Burbs. Thursdays at 4. Did I say that? Until then, stay warm, and I will see you here next month. Have a great February.